everybody says, oh, well, you could stop drinking. Well, I have a really good friend who comes from a family of alcoholics, and boy, he's a great dude, and he tries and tries and tries and tries, and he sometimes falls off the wagon, and it's like there's just something in his wiring that makes him have that addictive personality. So those are the cases where perhaps you don't
Yeah.
really maybe have that much control in the relationship. However, this is an instance where I think a lot of us do have control. And what's interesting, and here's the last thing I'll say about this is when we have so much control, it's amazing how many of us don't take control. We don't take the throttle or take the reins. We think, well, of course it's our choice. And then we say, oh, but it'll all work out. And then you get divorced and you're like, well, what did you do to make it not happen? Well, and so because we don't want to blame ourselves. We don't want to look at our own failure. We don't want to acknowledge that. Guess what? It takes two to tango. You guys have to work on this. You can't tell me as a human that if you're sitting across from your spouse at the dinner table and you get the one word answers and they're looking down at their phone while they're eating, you have a communication problem, my friend. It's like
Yeah.
maybe you need to bring that up and say, you know what, we maybe need to get some help here. And both parties need to be willing to do that. That's the difficulty. Sometimes, most of the times, there's one person driving the therapy conversation. The other one goes along reluctantly, says this isn't working, and then that other person files for divorce. So
Right.
there you go. And that's that.
Well, Joe, I really wish I could go on, and I've got so many other questions. We might have to do a part 2 on this because I found
absolutely my pleasure to do so, and I'll get my microphone
fascinating.
working correct.
Fascinating. Just to finish off, Joe, will you share with us what is it you're working on right now? That's exciting, and how can our listeners find you?
So right now, I'm actually writing a book, and I've learned how difficult it is to write a book, and so therefore I'm an avid reader, and I'm going to make a promise to every author out there that I'm now going to slow down my reading because I'm going to acknowledge and savor each of the pages that you have worked so diligently to put in front of me. I'm actually writing a book, and the working title right now is called "Every Marriage is a Negotiation." And it's applying the principles that I use in mediation to the marriage conversations. As we talked about earlier, I think therapy conversations leave people discussing their feelings, but there's nothing actionable that's going to help them solve that problem. And so my goal is to put together a methodology that they can use. So you're not a corporate raider. You're not, trying to do X, Y, or Z and take over some company. It's just trying to understand, how can I communicate with my spouse better, and how can I get an outcome and an action that helps us move forward? And that's really, with so many years of experience doing this, I've seen a lot of patterns evolve. I've seen a lot of epic failures, and they do fall into buckets. They really do. And that's my goal, is to write a book and basically put myself out of business. So I don't know if I'll do that. I don't know if I'll achieve that goal, but I'll give it my best shot, Tony.
Fantastic.